Yes, it'd be apropos first to address our crowd. I thought they were great. I've been hoping for that for a long time. I said last week to these two guys, I said, I really feel hurt because I love these guys, and I love their approach, and I love the way they play. And they're not going to win all their games. But you don't know what you have until you don't have it any longer, and those 6 seniors aren't going to be around. The sand's coming out of the bottle. You only get 5 more looks, and I'm so happy our people got to see them not just play their hearts out, but they happen to be on top. You know, we've played New Mexico 5 straight games now, and somebody's won with less than 20 seconds to go, or overtime 3 times. And so I'm not big on streaks. I told the team yesterday, and I told the team after the game, that streaks are for the writers. It's so absurd. There's no streaks this year. New Mexico has never played Wyoming, and Wyoming has never played New Mexico. This team had never played each other. They played today. And I'm really happy for them because their will is incredible. Like I told Greenwood, he knows I've been by far his biggest fan for 4 years. I told him I wish I could have coached you. I love him to death. And what can you say? I mean, we talked earlier in the year, you know, it doesn't get written about, and it never gets put on ESPN. Made free throws. These guys have made big free throws all year, and Josh did it again. And that's not easy when there's a lot of people watching. Probably a blessing that we have a short turnaround, a game Tuesday. I told them to have some fun, make adult decisions, but you better come back here at 4 o'clock, refocus tomorrow, because that's how this league is. Questions?
Larry, I know it. Take us through that last sequence. I mean, Nance has been at the line. He misses that first of 2, makes the second, and then it sounds like from what Larry said that Jason was supposed to foul early, but didn't. But then that set up the steal and the game winner. Can you kind of take us through that sequence?
Yeah,
from your...
we were in what we call 55-11 on the possession earlier. We're going to give it. We're going to give some pressure, and we're going to hope that we can either get a travel, a charge, or a steal. And the reason it's 11 is the second they get it over half court, we foul, which is when we fouled Greenwood. Now there's less time. And I said, get as close to your guy as you can. And if you can't get it on the catch, the steal, we're going to red. And they move so quick, we couldn't red immediately. And sometimes the good Lord provides. Most coaches don't like using the word luck or good fortune. I got to tell you, I've been doing this 40 years. There's luck and there's good fortune occasionally, and anybody that doesn't think so, they're missing the boat. Great play by Larry Nance, but wouldn't you think the best player, by far the best point guard in this league, Hugh Greenwood, that's really going to happen again? I mean, it just happened to happen. No one probably feels worse than him, but trust me, he is a big-time winner. Anybody thinks different, tell the Lobo fans to call me. Big-time winner.
Coach, you know, you talk about the will of this team, and it just seems to show up in every overtime. And you know, I mean, how do you? Is it just the maturity level, and it's a special group of guys where these finishes they continue to find a way?
It's a special group of guys because they haven't won all their games, and when they didn't win, they didn't approach it any different. They didn't blame anybody. They didn't listen. You know, you can listen. You know, with Twitter and email and all the blogs and all that other nonsense. They don't do that. They bring their lunch pail. They come and ask the assistant coaches, what do we got to do to give ourselves the best chance? And that's really been their approach. And I made the statement yesterday, New Mexico and San Diego State are the best 2 defensive teams. And I got to tell you, up close, you know, my guys are a little pissed, but I got to tell you, they're 2 awful good defensive teams. I don't know if there's anybody better in the West.
I know they did a good job of keeping you guys out of the paint a lot, especially production in the paint in that first half, and it got a little better in the second half. Did anything change, or did you guys do anything different?
A lot changed. We went in at half and said the battle of wills was just lost. Forget the scoreboard. We took 15 of our 17 attempts from 3. That's what they wanted. We did what they wanted. And we could not get Larry the ball because of their size, length, and the way they were playing, 16, 17 feet from the basket. In the second half, I said, let's see who wins the battle of will, because if the ball doesn't get to the goal at some point, off the dribble or off the catch, it's going to be more of the same. I thought Larry did a great job. There was a physical confrontation every single possession on offense, and I thought he stayed the course, and that's why he ended up doing what he did the second half.
Coach, I'm sure you're not surprised by that with Larry, but I mean, how much awareness, I guess, does it take after you miss a free throw, not to just zone out, but to make the free throw, then get the steal, then get the dunk? You know, what does it take, I guess, to stay in the game after a mishap?
The three of us talked about that last week. I mean, come on, Riley misses a wide open shot to win it in regulation on the road at Fresno. By the way, they'll win games at home. Anybody that doesn't think so is flirting. And then Junior misses 2 free throws, not 1, 2. And then Larry Nance misses 2 free throws, 0.5 seconds to go. And I told you, any other group I've been with in 40 years, you could see it on their body language or their face, not these guys. Let's go. Let's talk about this in February. It's going to be more fun in February. Same thing tonight. And at one point, I think they were down 5 or 6, I think. So, yeah, it's fun to be around them, but I am old enough to know it's fun being around them, even on those few nights that they haven't hit the last shot. Because they're a pro. It's how you do what you do. And I love them for that.
Larry, I think 10 turnovers in the first half.
3
in the second.
Yeah.
So what changed there? You mentioned battle of will inside. Did anything change?
Yeah, stronger hands, smarter plays. You know, Larry had a couple where he turned and dribbled the ball in the lane, and there were 3 people waiting. Junior and Josh over-penetrated a couple times trying to make plays. You're not going to make plays if they're going to sink 4.5 guys 14 feet from the basket. You know, you're going to have to knock some up there. And what we had to do was get the ball to the goal somehow with stronger hands. And thank God Larry got that thing instead of 13 feet away. He was getting that ball 6, 7, 8 feet away. Big difference.
You've talked about Larry a lot. He picks up his 3rd foul midway through the 3rd half, and yet you guys couldn't afford for him not to continue to be aggressive down low, and he gets a lot of his points down the stretch. What was he doing anything different? Was he playing any smarter or any differently? Why didn't he pick up any more fouls after that midway point?
I think our other players did a better job of spacing, finding him, not giving him the ball 16 feet away where he was catching it off the box the first half, waiting for him to get even that lob pass to him, waiting for him to get where he needed to get to, where he only needs 1 dribble, and good luck.
Obviously, the aggression from him didn't go away, but you're saying most of it was about the teammates getting him the ball low as opposed to him doing anything different.
Yeah, because if we'd have popped it to him at 16, 17 feet in the second half, he just becomes a perimeter player, and they did a pretty good job the first half when Larry was a perimeter player. I don't even think he got a basket inside the first half.
Yeah, it was 10-0 points in the paint the first half.
Okay.
I know you streaks. They're for us, not for you.
Absolutely.
This was a big game for the Mountain West race, though. It's not even to the midway point yet, I know, but how big was this game in terms of the standings, and did you talk to your team about what this meant in the bigger picture?
Well, my wife and I read the paper here, and we had read that Vegas was the biggest one. That was the first one. And then we read that Boise was the next biggest one. And then we read that Fresno was playing for first place with their first crowd over 7,500 in years. And then we read that this game. So, are you serious? Every game in this league, if you have a good to modest record, is a game that's important. And the kids aren't going to be fooled. They know. Sometimes the fans can get fooled. This was special for me because when we came back, you know, 2 of my sons were born there. We've had 5 straight games with New Mexico, and New Mexico finished victoriously with 20 seconds or less all 5 games. But for this team, they're 1-0, and they're pretty excited in that locker room because that's the only thing that mattered to them. They really weren't into the historical portion of the series.